Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Honor MD podcast. I am Dr. John Diaz, a board-certified plastic surgeon here in Beverly Hills.
And I'm Ursula Diaz, co-founder of Honor MD Skincare, and we're so excited to be here today and talk to everyone.
Yes, we have an interesting topic today, I think.
And I think so many people are interested in it and want to learn more.
Yeah, I think it's overdue. I think it's been this topic has been out for a while, but I think it's a good time to talk about and kind of go into it because I still think people don't understand it very well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think everyone wants to do it. So you should definitely know about it before you commit to doing this. Yeah. And we're talking about salmon sperm.
It still makes me laugh every time I hear it because when I first heard it, I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was just a gimmick marketing thing.
Me too. I thought it was another like snail mucus facial.
All right. So I laugh about it because I remember thinking how ridiculous it sounded, but it actually is a very effective treatment. And
that's so amazing. I love that.
Wild. So I'm sure everyone has heard of this treatment. It was, I think, made famous by the Kardashians.
Yes, but we have a lot of Korean friends and a lot of our friends travel to Korea pretty often. And they came back and they were like, what do you think about the salmon sperm? Yeah. And I remember thinking, what do you mean? What do I think about salmon sperm? I never think about salmon sperm, but that it was this new craze in Korea. And then shortly thereafter, it was available here.
Yeah. And I think like a lot, there's for those listeners who may not know this, but Korea is like an epicenter of a lot of beauty treatments.
Oh my gosh, the beauty mecca.
Yeah, so a lot of great things come out of there. And also, we kind of touched on this in a conversation off camera about how outside of the United States, other countries in Europe and Asia, they sometimes have an advantage in terms of introducing new treatments because they may not have as many regulations. So they're often at the very cutting edge of some technology and treatments because we're a little bit more burdened by a lot of the regulations in the FDA here. So sometimes things come out there faster than they do here.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think everyone's excited to try this.
Yes.
But I think we all have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So that's exciting to hear that it works.
Yes.
There are benefits associated with this treatment.
Yes. So, because I've talked about it, but a lot of patients, even today, they've heard about it, they know about it. Some of them have even had it. Mm-hmm. And then if I ask them, do you know what it is? They don't know what it is. So for those of you who don't know what salmon sperm really is, it's really not sperm. It's really not sperm.
So that's interesting.
Right.
So why do they call it salmon sperm?
Yeah. So this is the deal. So labs around the world are doing research on DNA, obviously. So DNA is this incredibly, powerful molecule that is basically what designs every living organism in the world. And when they were doing research on DNA, they were studying different parts of it. And if you break DNA into its small segments, those segments are referred to as polydeoxyribonucleotides, so PDRNs. Okay. And it turns out that these segments, if you take them and you put them in cells, they can have a lot of effect on the cell function. And they can trigger these cascades of signals and pathways that lead to DNA repair and synthesis. So very powerful regenerative effects.
That's amazing.
So these labs started working on it and they're like, how do we get more of this DNA? Well, it's not easy to get DNA. You have to take it from an animal source and you have to take the cells and you have to make sure the cells are in good condition and stuff like that. So it's not the easiest process. So it turns out in Asia, they figured out, salmon produce tons of sperm and they release it pretty easily. So it was just an easy, fast, cheap way to get a ton of sperm. And sperm is, like any cell in the body, it contains DNA. So that's where the salmon sperm came from. It's just, that was the source that they used for their labs to get the DNA.
So they're not hurting salmon to get this.
There are salmon farms. And so I think it's very cheap. They just go to the salmon farm and probably say, we want to buy, kilograms of like salmon sperm.
Oh, wow.
That's probably how it works.
So it's kind of like a byproduct that they have anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like recycling.
Yeah, it's very environmentally friendly.
Well, that was my next question. So are they hindering any kind of like salmon repopulation? Like, is it affecting anything? Because it seems like it would cause some kind of change.
I have to say I'm not the expert on this, but I doubt
but they're not hurting them.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think I've seen videos of this. They just kind of milk. I think it's very easy to milk the sperm out of the salmon if it's their breeding season. They have like seasons. Yeah. So it's like And the same thing with the eggs. So it's just, I think, pretty
So
easy.
it's the DNA that's extracted from the sperm.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is what's being used in these treatments.
Okay, but it's probably more catchy and more buzzworthy to say
Correct.
salmon sperm versus
Right.
salmon DNA.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's much right. That's gonna catch your attention.
Oh my
for
gosh,
sure.
it totally caught my attention.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things that I wanted to share is one of the reasons why it's taken me a little bit of time to like want to address this and want to introduce this to our practice is because I've always been someone that wants to wait until I know that something's effective. So when I first heard it, I thought it was a gimmick. I thought it was just, some marketing thing or ploy. And then slowly I saw the science. I was like, okay, actually this makes sense. But I still wasn't convinced because I didn't see studies proving, there were studies saying that
So it's relatively new.
Yeah, I would say that it's in the world of medicine, it's new because it takes a long time to establish efficacy in medicine. But I feel like now there's been enough evidence to support the fact that this is truly effective.
Well, I love that about you. Like you wait until things are proven. I mean, it's nice to be the first person to jump on the trend bandwagon.
Right.
But you don't want to hurt people. You want to make sure it works. Like you don't waste your money. Like,
well, I always, one of the things I say to patients often is like, I'm not a used car salesman. Like, thankfully, I have a successful, thriving practice. I'm busy. I'm not in need of trying to convince anyone to do anything with me. So I have the luxury of really being able to be very honest and forthright with patients. It's how we are, you and I. Like, I need to be able to look someone in the eye, and if I tell them like I'm recommending this, I need to feel good about that. Like, I can't just recommend something just because it's trendy or it's the hot topic of the day or it's the trending thing on social media. I need to really be able to believe in it for me to try to recommend it.
Well, I also think that our patients are very discerning, and they're willing to make the investment, but they want to make sure it works.
Yeah,
and so you are the gatekeeper of what works and what doesn't. So I think that the people at your practice, they want a natural aesthetic and they want things that work. So so I think that's great.
Yeah. So what studies have shown is that when you take these segments and you apply them to skin, it can have really powerful effects on the skin in terms of its repair, regeneration, production of collagen. And so there are a lot of benefits that are being seen with salmon sperm. And there's a lot of different ways to apply it. Some are more effective than others.
So what are the most effective ways?
So the way we like to use it, and I think the most common way, is to combine it with microneedling. Okay. And we did an episode on microneedling. And, for those of you who may not know, even though microneedling is so common now, but basically it's a treatment where you're using very small, tiny needles to puncture the skin, create little channels in the skin. This goes directly into the depth of the skin. And so if you apply the salmon sperm DNA over it, it's more likely to reach the cells and the skin where you want it to go to, as opposed to just applying it topically over intact skin.
And they do like similar things, right? The microneedling and the salmon DNA.
That's true.
So putting them together makes it that much more of an effective treatment, right?
I love, whenever this comes up, I love the word synergy, because microneedling by itself is powerful. Salmon sperm by itself is powerful, but you add these together, you're going to get an even better and more powerful effect. The two together are better than either one alone. So that's the most common way. Now, in Asia, they also allow practitioners to inject it directly into the skin. But here in the US, that hasn't been approved yet.
So when they inject it into the skin, and I know that we're in the US, so you may not know, but are they adding anything to it, like PRP? Is there any volume associated with the injection, or it's just getting it inside the skin?
Well, it's already in the solution. So they're injecting it into the skin, like in the dermis with the needle, which is not that different than microneedling. Yeah. It's just more of like the
So it's
logistics.
not for volume or anything.
No,
it's just purely to get it inside of the skin.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That's the idea. The idea is they want to deliver it right into the skin.
So then do you have to do a bunch of injections?
Yes. Oh. Yeah. So you would have to do a bunch of injections. Yeah.
That sounds really painful.
Yeah. But that's off label. That's off label here in the US. But in Asia, and I'm sure in Europe, they're probably doing this as well.
So interesting.
Yeah. So microneedling is the most common way.
So who should be doing this? Like people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, or can everybody benefit from this?
Well, everyone can benefit from it. But at the same time, again, like I think most really good practitioners like myself and other colleagues that I have, we want to recommend things that are truly going to help someone, right? So for example, can you do this in your 20s? Yeah, for sure you can do this in your 20s. But as you know, when you're 20 years old, I mean, your skin is like prime time. Like it's at its peak health.
But it does start to decline around 25, right?
It does, right. But someone in their 20s who gets this may not see as much of the benefit because their skin is already
so are there preventative benefits with this?
I guess so, yeah, sure.
And the reason I ask is because the Kardashians are talking about this, right? And I actually don't know how old Kylie is, because I think maybe, was she talking about it?
You know what?
Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, she's young.
I can't be, so maybe like late 20s, maybe
Probably.
early 30s. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
So, you know, when that age demographic, the demographic of people that follow her, I mean, I think it's probably maybe a big range, but I think she does have a lot of younger followers.
That's a good point.
So, you know, should you like spend your money on this if you're in your 20s?
I think most doctors would probably say save your money if you're in your 20s.
Okay.
Because,
but 30s, go all in.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
30 and up.
Yeah. So I think most people would say that this is really a better treatment once you're in your 30s, because now, as you pointed out, skin starts kind of losing its strength and its ability to repair itself in the late 20s. And so when you now approach your 30s, this is where you're going to start seeing a little bit of skin damage, sun damage, some lines, fine lines, wrinkles, things like that. That's when that's going to start. So this is where you're going to start really seeing the true benefits of doing treatments like this. And then, of course, moving forward, 40s, 40 now is the new 30. So,
oh my gosh, I know. And 50 is the new 40. Oh
100%.
My goodness.
I've said this a million times.
I love it. Everybody's aging in reverse.
Oh, and it's unbelievable. Well, I've said this a ton of times. I have patients now that come in and they're 50 years old, and 20, 25 years ago, they might have needed like extensive facelifting or whatever to rejuvenate them. But some of these patients come in, they don't need anything. They look great because they've been doing these little treatments for so long. So 30s is a great time to start this. 40s is a great time too to do it. Once you're in your 50s, well, again, the new version of 50 probably also. But once you're at it, once you start seeing advanced signs of aging, and what I mean by that is like deep lines, deep wrinkles, deep nasolabial folds, jowls, a lot of loose skin and neck skin, then the salmon sperm facial is probably not going to do much for you either. So there's like kind of like that range where like you're going to get the most benefit.
So with microneedling, right? Yeah. I know that there's PRP, there's radiofrequency, like these are all kind of add-ons to salmon sperm. So should you do PRP and salmon sperm? Do you do one instead of the other? Do they do the same thing?
Yeah, I would probably just do one or the other.
Okay.
And not
like switch off maybe?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But you wouldn't do it together.
I probably wouldn't recommend doing it together, because then sometimes if you do things together, they can either cancel each other. They might interfere with each other.
Got it.
And they're going to work in different ways. So I would probably say if you decide that you want to try salmon sperm, first of all, you're not going to see any major difference after one treatment.
So what do you see? Do you see like radiance?
Yeah. So the patients that have been doing it are coming back and saying that their skin looks like it's glowing, it's smoother, it has a better texture. But this is after about 2 to 3 sessions. So you're not going to see it right away, like immediately, but you're going to see it if you are consistent with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I will record it and share it with everybody. Will you do it with me?
Oh, I do it myself? Do I need to look any younger than I do already?
Well, no, you look
joking.
Great.
I'm
but
joking.
Who doesn't want to look better?
Yeah. No. And I say
your
that
skin is beautiful. I love it. Yes.
Well, the reason I say that is because I'm 51, and most patients are like often very shocked because they say I look younger.
You do.
And as a surgeon, there is something nice about having like some lines and wrinkles, because it makes people think like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing.
Of course. And I mean, maybe to me, I think you look like you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
And it's not like you look like you're 14, because then nobody would come to you for surgery. So yeah, but it's very nice to, have beautiful skin. And you obviously take care of your skin too. But
yeah.
I am a little bit jealous that you don't have to do all of these treatments.
Yeah. And us men as well, we're like also less, we tend to do less to take care of ourselves and our skin. We're much more simple. But I think, I think it is an important point that men should start. First of all, I'm seeing a lot more men in my practice now than I ever used to.
Which is great. And I think it's important because you women have been leading us for so long. I mean, the way women are aging now is so incredible, like I just said.
Women looks great, but they've been used to doing things for themselves, doing little things over time, taking care of their hair and their nails and their skin, and it's paying off. And then now I think us men are looking at our partners and being like, oh my God, like I have to keep up with this person because they look incredible. So a lot of my male patients are coming in because their wives or their girlfriends are coming here. They're getting treatments and they're going back, and the husbands and boyfriends are like, wow, you look amazing. Like I need to do that. And that's why a lot of men are doing it too. So I want to look good too. I want to stay, I want to stay looking good, and you know, I want to keep up with you. So I probably should start doing some of the salmon sperm facials.
I love that. I wanted to ask you something else about it. Okay, so myth busting. So does it help or not? It does help.
Oh yeah.
So amazing. Yeah, so it's scientifically backed. Totally helps. And the best treatment to do it with would be the microneedling.
Yeah.
Does it help with recovery at all? Like, is there less downtime if you do the salmon sperm?
Less downtime after microneedling?
Yeah.
No, probably the same. It's going to be the same. Yeah. So the downtime really is coming from the microneedling itself.
Got it.
And your skin needs a little bit of time to repair itself. So there's always going to be a very short period of time where the skin's going to be a little raised, a little bit red. And I mean, it's always going to help. It's not going to hurt, but it may not make a noticeable decrease in recovery time.
Got it. And should people be adding this to their topical skincare regimen? Because I know there are products now that are saying that they have it in it.
Yes, so this is the new thing that people are now applying this just topically. Now, here's the thing. For salmon sperm, for the DNA, these PDRN segments, for them to be truly effective, they have to penetrate into the skin cell. And if you just put it on the surface, it's very unlikely. So this comes back to one of the things we've talked about before about the nuances with skincare. Because just because an ingredient has evidence that it works, you have to know, well, what is the formulation of that ingredient? What is the delivery method? Because the epidermis, which is the superficial surface of our skin, it's a barrier. It's very difficult to penetrate that and get into the skin. That's why we have the epidermis. It's protecting us from outside stuff. So if you just put, let's say the salmon sperm derivative, if you put this on your skin, it's very unlikely to probably work as well as it would if you were injecting it or doing with microneedling. So it's probably not. So that's probably a little bit more marketing.
Okay, so save your money and do it at a plastic surgeon's office and get it microneedled into your skin.
That's going to be the best way to do it.
Okay, so it actually works. No salmon are being hurt. That's also a positive. Well, I can't wait to try this.
Yeah. So Ursula has volunteered to be the guinea pig for this podcast.
Right. I have.
Yeah.
The things that we talk about, I will then go do them.
Yeah. And the thing is now we have so many options. I mean, even right now, you just touched on a couple of different things, right? So we talked about the microneedling, combining it with the salmon sperm facial. Then you mentioned the PRP. There's all these things now. And, you know, you bringing this up, I think, is a good thing to discuss, because patients now are coming to me and they're confused. They're confused about what to do, because they're like, I've heard about this, I've heard about X, I've heard about Y, and they're like very torn. They're like, what do I do? I want to try this. And so I have found that a lot of times patients are basing their decision on like what they've last seen on Instagram or what they last saw on a reality TV show, which, you know, it's not bad. Because sometimes you need some starting point. But I think, you know, it's all about like what your comfort level is, what appeals to you. Some people, for example, come in and they're like, I definitely want to do microneedling and the salmon sperm. I've heard about it. That's what I want. And if you try to bring up another, you know, type of treatment, they're like, no. I've set my mind to this, and this is what I want to do.
They want to try it.
Right. So that's a lot of people now. They come in and they know exactly what they want to do.
So where should we get inspiration for what treatments we try, what treatments we do? Because some things look and sound really cool.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's where a consultation with a really qualified, in my opinion, plastic surgeon or my colleagues in dermatology, that's where you're going to get the best benefit, because it requires you sitting down with a professional and talking about all of these different pros and cons. Now, I spend an hour with patients. That's amazing. That's very rare in my industry. Very few doctors spend that time. But I know other colleagues that I respect and I admire who do the same, but they're not that many. So I would say if you are interested in one of these treatments, I would encourage any audience member listening to try to find a provider, try to find a doctor, maybe through word of mouth, maybe even looking at reviews, and trying to find someone who has a reputation of spending time with patients, because this stuff requires conversation. It's not that simple of just like, I want to do something. Okay, do X, Y, Z. Because for all you know, you may be steered in the direction just because maybe that's the last thing the doctor bought and they're just trying to promote it.
No.
Like we've heard about this with machines.
Yeah, that's tricky. Yeah. But I think you bring up a really good point, because if you spend an hour or a significant amount of time discussing your goals and your specific issues, maybe that's not even the best thing for you. Maybe it's you could see a bigger benefit doing something else.
That's absolutely right. For example, let me give you a very brief example. Let's say, and this happens all the time, I'll have a patient, maybe they're in their 60s, and they have deep nasolabial folds, jowls, they have loose neck skin, loose muscle, platysma of their neck, and they're telling me they want a salmon sperm facial. Now, if I am, a med spa down the block and I have a quota and I'm being pressured by the owner to like sell as many salmon sperm facials as I can, and I see that patient, unfortunately that person is going to be like, yeah, sure, absolutely, let's go do it, let's sign you up right now. But that patient comes to me, I'm going to sit down with her and I'm going to say, listen, I'm happy to do that if you want, but let me tell you why it's probably not going to work. And let me tell you why it's probably not going to be the thing that's going to benefit you the most. And I'd rather that patient save their money and not do something they're not going to be happy with and not do anything at all than sell something that I know is not going to really make a big difference.
But if this same patient is just saying, look, I want really radiant, glowy skin for the next week,
sure,
I want to do this facial.
And that's where the conversation, that's where the consultation comes in, right?
And setting those expectations.
And
like this is what you can expect.
Exactly.
But I think glowy, healthy skin makes...
It's always good.
It always looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're going to look better if you have a jowl situation or platysmal bands or whatever you said, that you should probably address those too.
Yeah.
But
I have had patients who tell me, they'll say like, oh, I'll see someone, they have advanced signs of aging, and I'll say, what are you interested in? They'll say, oh, I want to do, whatever treatment. Let's say, because we're on the subject, salmon sperm facial. And I'll say, great, what are your goals? Well, I want to get rid of these jowls and I want to get rid of these folds.
Oh, yeah, we got to educate that patient.
Right. And I'll be like, okay, well, maybe we should consider some other things because you're not going to get that. And one of the things I hear all the time are patients that come to me, they're very unhappy after being in other places. And they'll say, I'm very disappointed. I spent all this money on this treatment and I didn't see any difference. And then when I kind of explore what it is that happened during their experience, it comes down to what I kind of alluded to earlier. They went somewhere, they wanted some treatment. They were like, sure, they just signed them up, made them pay for the treatment, do the treatment, and then send them out the door. And they walk out having an outcome that was very different than what they expected.
Well, yeah, I mean, managing expectations and setting expectations is really important so that everybody's happy. But this reminds me of a story, what you said about like, people wanting a facial to fix like skin laxity or to like lift their face.
Right.
And one of my first jobs in beauty was I worked at the MAC counter and I was doing makeup, and I will never forget, and I feel like this happened to me definitely more than once, where older women would come and they would clearly need a blepharoplasty, okay? Like lots of hanging skin or bulging under the eye. And they're like, can you fix this with concealer? And it's like, what? No, I can't fix it with concealer. Like, look at the tools I have, but I would do my best. And you can definitely improve the appearance of the eye by brightening it with a concealer or like trying to make the crease look better with a darker eyeshadow. But I remember thinking, these people don't need me. They need a plastic surgeon.
I should have known you back then.
I know, but really managing the expectation and letting them know what they can expect and what they can't.
Yeah. No, this is a very important thing for people to know and understand, because we have all of these incredible treatments. The salmon sperm facial is great. It does work. It does help the skin. But it's important to understand what it can or can't accomplish. And, again, you cannot replace the value of sitting down with a professional who truly cares about your best interest and is not just trying to sell you the latest treatment.
Well, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Like, I'm thinking, where do you look to for inspiration? But regardless of where you find your inspiration, having a consultation with a professional is where everybody should start. But I feel like most people don't start there.
Yeah.
So that's a good tip.
Yeah. Well, and it's because of social media now is so powerful. It is incredible because, nowadays, there's this information being shared so quickly. And, maybe back in the day before social media, a treatment like salmon sperm facial may not be widespread and maybe would only stay in Korea or would only stay in like certain major cities. But very quickly it became something that was well known and well, understood across the country. So it is powerful in that way, but it can't replace that one-on-one you have with your doctor or your trusted dermatologist or nurse or other provider who is going to, again, kind of like explain exactly what you can expect or not expect with these different treatments.
Well, I love it. I'm so excited it works because it sounded fun.
Yes.
And I like that it's actually salmon DNA.
Yes, not the actual salmon sperm.
No fish are getting hurt.
Right.
And that it does leave a beautiful radiance in the skin. And there's other benefits like the DNA repair and collagen induction. Yeah. So I'm really excited to try it.
Yeah, me too. And I'm excited because, I nerd out on this stuff. I love the science. So I love when I hear about this treatment. I was very surprised and very pleasantly surprised when I heard about this very marketing, like this gimmicky name, but it actually had true science behind it. I was very happy about that.
So do you like this one more than the other surprise you got about the Korean slapping treatments?
Right. So another,
because you have talked about that in another episode.
I love that. My humor is a little eccentric, but I love that because what Ursula is referring to is years ago out of Korea, there's like clinics.
Do they still have them?
They probably do, where you sit down and you get slapped in the face by the practitioner.
And what is the certification for the practitioner? Like, who is doing this?
Like an angry person. They just find like the angriest, most bitter person. Like, you're going to be an incredible slapper. So let's get that person in.
No, but seriously, is it like an esthetician? Is it a doctor? Is it a nurse?
I don't know.
I want to look into this.
Yeah, this is, well, I looked into it a little bit.
Okay.
So what I do, right? So when I hear about it.
So you do it too?
No. Maybe to myself, but the way I look into things is I go to these medical kind of
like
search
a PubMed
engines.
or something.
Yeah, PubMed is one of my favorite, and I search it.
Okay.
So I searched it, and it turns out that
there was like a clinical study about it.
It does work.
Oh, wow.
It does work. So mechanical.
So the trauma.
Mechanical. Okay. Yeah. So mechanical. Repetitive vibration to the skin. Force does also stimulate collagen production. Now, but you have to get slapped a lot for a very long time for it to work. So we don't offer that in my office. So if you're interested in that, you might have to go to Korea. But
I keep forgetting to ask Patty about this. One of our dearest friends is Korean and she goes back quite often. Yeah. And Sora. So we have to ask them.
Yeah. But I love this because, it's so fascinating how you hear about these things. And sometimes it's gimmicky, sometimes it's marketing, but sometimes there's actual science behind it. And that's the part I love.
Me too.
Yeah. So this salmon sperm facial does have science behind it. It is a great treatment, and it's something we've been doing, and patients have been very happy. So I'm happy that we shared some information about it today. I think it's fun to talk about, and
it's so fun, and it's great that people should do it. Yeah. And so I hope you'll do it with us, and I'm going to show you how my treatment goes, and then we can go from there.
Sounds good. So stay tuned, subscribe, check out our videos, and maybe next time you'll see Ursula with even more of a glow to her beautiful skin.
Thank you. I definitely need a glow. So stay tuned and subscribe and share this episode. And if you've had a salmon facial or you're going to get one, let us know how it went.
Yeah. Let us know your feedback.